Hey there, fellow wanderers. You find yourself standing ankle-deep in the murky, chill mud of a medieval European street. The air bites against your skin, cold, damp, and full of things better left unnamed. A dense fog hangs low, smothering the metallic clang of weapons and the grunts of hungover soldiers haggling for work. The scent of wood smoke, spoiled beer, and unwashed bodies wraps around you like a second unwanted cloak. This isn't a fairy tale. This is the life of a medieval mercenary where allegiance is a coin flip, your sword is your resume, and tomorrow might never come. So, before we dive deeper, I ask only this. If this kind of raw, unvarnished truth speaks to you, click like, hit subscribe, and leave a trace of yourself in the comments. Tell me your city, your time, your state of mind. Now, dim the lights. Let the hum of your fan blend with the wind of centuries past. Let's begin, and remember, in medieval times, even survival was a luxury. Your journey starts in an era where the very notion of safety is as elusive as fog on a dawn's morning. As a hired hand, you're neither noble nor common. You're a shadow that slips between the cracks of society. Ah yes, the mercenary life. Historically speaking, medieval Europe witnessed the rise of paid soldiers as major players in endless power struggles. The era is torn between structure and chaos, lords striving for land and knights pledging oaths that often disappear into the ether when faced with harsh realities like dwindling resources, or, let's face it, boredom. Enter you the mercenary, to some a hero, to others an anarchic force. Historians still argue whether mercenaries were essential stabilizers or just opportunistic additions to warfare. What's certain is that, from the 100 Years' War to the Italian Wars, you are ever present, filling the ranks where loyalty is as often bought as it is earned. Your mornings begin with the hiss of rain on canvas and the cold seep of last night's damp through your cloak. You might dream of golden coins and fat feasts, but reality usually presents a meager breakfast, half-cooked over a fickle flame, just enough to stoke the fires of endurance. Your teeth ache from the cold, and perhaps a missing few, courtesy of a past brawl. Ah, dental plans were just an impossible future, and you can feel the effects long before hitting your twilight years. Through the haze and rustle of your encampment, stories circulate like currency-vivid tales of past battles and impossible feats, both entertaining and often exaggerated. The quiet murmurs of these tales might lull you into a temporary distraction from the grime and chill that tries to settle into your bone. There's no denying the camaraderie you form with fellow mercenaries, each of you drawn by necessity and the promise of gold. Its gleam is seductive, even when only catching the dim light of a morning mist. Your line of work is an odd social experiment of sorts where peasants and nobles might rub shoulders, seated around the same campfire, every eye catching the flickering light and sharing in the humble repast. Did I mention the array of languages? Oh yes, you quickly find yourself learning all the crucial commands and pleas for Mercier, a pint of Elaine, whatever dialects can be caught. French, German, English, Italian, and a smattering of others. This patchwork of tongues adds to the bizarre, exhilarating mix of your daily grind. Yet this role of a mercenary is not simply a call. It's a continuous right shuffle in an uncanny dance with fate, betting your life for a pouch that may or may not be filled with the promised precious metal. After all, what use is a reward if you're not alive to enjoy it, loverless, save for the night stars above? In this place, you constantly vigil for an atmosphere of both opportunity and doom, hanging over the trenches like the breath before a storm. An uneasy emptiness might greet you, a world waiting, pregnant with possibilities, flowing like an unseen current. As you stand in this medieval world of warriors for hire, your story gradually weaves through the abyss of time. A life not of pageantry, but of harsh truths, and the sort of survival instincts that can truly only be celebrated when the day's dust has settled. As the evening fogs form once again, blurring the earthy outlines of another week behind you, settle into the rhythm of this telling. You're about to walk alongside the footsteps of those who, for better or worse, signed on life's dotted line, where the ink might just as well have been their own blood. And thus, you stand on the cusp of discovery, perhaps with a wry smile or cautious intrigue, ready to delve deeper into this era of peril and fortune. As the shadows lengthen, you sense the tales trailing through the evening air, ready to morph into stories that must be told. be at ease, and let us wander forward, into the unraveling night, tethered by tales from centuries past. You find yourself waiting in the flickering light of a smoky tavern, a common haunt for those seeking to enlist your services. The smell of spilled ale mingles with the earthy odor of bodies packed too tightly, each face eager for a new opportunity. At the other side of the room, a wealthy lord draped in heavy furs that scream authority loudly declares his intent to hire troops. This is the moment when your life could take on yet another twisty detour. Recruitment is where every mercenary's journey truly begins. It is a process as fraught with uncertainty as it is with promise. Lords and nobles, much like the one before you now, are constantly on the lookout for a fighting force to tip the balance in their politically tangled lives. Yet, within the grand declarations and persuasive airs, lie the grey threads of a recruitment system rife with deception. Promises stream from the lips of the recruiting agents like honey, embellished with bulging bags of coins and tales of lands yet to be fought for. Vivid tapestries woven of riches in far-off places, but soon you learn to see beyond the facade. The mesmerizing spell of coin fades, leaving in its place contracts written with a philosopher's grasp of language florid, yet decidedly vague. These contracts, often verbal, are laid thick with assurances, yet as insubstantial as smoke. A handshake dealt across a wooden table might as well be a pact with a ghost, for how often have those same hands slipped quietly away in the night, leaving men unpaid and abandoned. Despite the mutual understanding of treachery, desperation binds your sword in service to whoever bids highest. Carry this thought. Hiring often comes down to location and current tensions, making mercenaries readily available commodities in high demand. Whether a region faces turbulent war or political strife, you exist to fill gaps, offer your ironclad skills, and perplexingly become both a problem and solution. The environment buzzes with a low hum as eager recruits gather, bracing for what's to come. The tavern becomes a makeshift assembly hall, where distinctions of rank momentarily fade. Newly promised comrades swap stories, boast of past exploits, and toast raised mugs in tentative camaraderie. This shared moment, while fleeting, forms tentative ties that will be tested as soon as you step out into the open field. Historically, it was during this recruitment process that many individuals pledged themselves to the cause with high hopes, casting aside their former lives for the allure of battlefield glory and a soldier's wage, though many found that glory was as ephemeral as morning dew. Although some see the role as a simple financial transaction, others come with the thirst for adventure and escape from a mundane existence. As contracts are signed or simply agreed upon, the true journey begins. You pack what belongings you have, ready to move at the whim of your new employer. A few copper coins tucked into a worn leather pouch jingle with every step its hollow weight, a constant, mocking reminder of broken promises. You know well enough that a signed promise is only as good as the paper it's, sometimes, written on. The tavern door swings open again, a blast of frigid air momentarily clearing the warmth of the room. You step through that portal, shoved forward by life's ceaseless demands, out into a world where, as a soldier of fortune, your path is as predictable as storm clouds on the horizon. What you perhaps nostalgically yearn for is some tangible reassurance, the mythical notion of an honest wage for an honest day's work. Yet the mercenary reality demands quick reflexes and flexibility not just on the field of battle, but in every contract drafted with grand lords who consider promises optional and fate a capricious old gossip. Historians debate whether these mercenary bands embodied courage or naivety. Was it monumental foolishness or exceptional adaptability that kept you going through the deceptive mirage of recruitment? Your armor clinks softly with each step, layers of leather and chain shifting like the tide, as you ponder whether anyone will ever truly pin down the motivations woven into the hearts of hired men. As the day wanes, painting the sky in shades of cooling blue and startling orange, you trudge forward. The journey ahead promises many bends, fraught with equal measures of calamity and adventure. Recruitment only scratches the surface of this life more, awaits between the thunder of battles and contemplations of lightless nights under stranger skies. Remember, fellow wanderer, the beginnings are merely threads in the rich tapestry of your experiences. These first steps pave the way for the winding road of a mercenary, a path laden with daunting, yet often breathtaking vistas. But for now, remember that tavern's warmth and the condensation on mugs amidst boisterous cheers. It's these small comforts that might carry you through the dark nights to come, like a warrior stepping into a story with countless chapters. Embark on your mission with courage, forged from trust more ephemeral than promises. The door thuds shut behind you, and the chill night air embraces you in its frosty grip. You gather your cloak tighter, head held high, ready to face whatever terrain lies ahead on this new escapade. As a mercenary, your life is a continuous patchwork of marching, not just to the beat of drums, but to the rhythm of myriad landscapes you are bound to traverse. From the dense, suffocating fog of the marshlands to the parched lands of southern Europe, the ground beneath your feet changes as often as the alliances in this war-torn world. You slot into columns of soldiers clad in varied garb, each representing different regions and dialects, unified by their ambition and an often illusory dream of wealth. In the fields, frost bites your skin, and in the deserts, the sun scalds your brow. No single climate seems to remain outside your experience. This constant flux makes you more adaptable with each passing day, a chameleon blending with every setting, conditioned by the contrasting climates where you are tasked to fight. The march across these diverse battlefields isn't just a procession over soil, it's a symphony of sensations. The icy wind wraps around you like a serpent. Steaming breaths exhaled by your fellow soldiers into the endless sky. Here, the crunch of leaves underfoot morphs into the squelch of mud, a simple reminder of the stunning variety of European topography. In your mind, the thundering of rivers rushing beside your trail accompanies the gurgle of drainage into ditches, forces of nature contrasting yet poetically mirroring the disorder within your own marching company. Conversations bubble around you, pockets of laughter breaking into the crisp air like ripples in a pond, offering momentary respite from the brutal journey ahead. Weather and injuries constantly battle for dominance over your stamina, testing your resolve against punishing odds. The veteran marchers, their eyes as weathered as their armor, navigate these challenges with a knowing nod, offering whispered advice over shared mealsa, toughened wisdom born of countless campaigns. Historians marvel at the resilience of mercenary factions, often enduring where others failed. They raise debates on how varying climates, diverse landscapes, and ecosystems shaped your strategies and survival. Was it ingenuity, luck, or an uncanny melding with the environment that forged your endurance? The jury's still out, a tale eternal as the wind. Beside your mismatched comrades, your path winds through dense oak forests. Here, under a canopy of leaves dappling the ground with shadow, you can't help but feel enveloped by the forest's primal spirit. In every nook, the ground shifts, a dance of life too hushed to disturb, but striking in its constant, invisible movement. Moving through rugged mountain ranges brings a towering grandeur to the trek. Snow-capped peaks stab accusingly at the sky, a formidable fortress petrified by time. Each breath is a lung once gasping, now acclimated to icy thinness. Your steps ring hollow over frozen streams, signaling navigational triumph or peril's precipice. Yet not all terrains are a test of fortitude. Some, like the lush valleys of Flanders or the sunlit plains of Castile, cradle you with their flower-strewn glory. Here, the air is rich, with the intoxicating perfume of lavender and rosemary, an unexpected balm to your battle-wearied senses. With eyes closed, you could almost imagine a different life one, where such beauty is not only a respite, but a permanent panorama. But the fantasy quickly fades under the sun's relentless march, where the dry crack of leather from scorching deserts signals that the campaign has whisked you yet again to stark extremes. The heat distorts the horizon, making visions dance like phantoms of mirage in the dizzying air. Each step is a struggle, yet undeniably confirms your unyielding spirit. To march is to tread a tapestry of extremes, sweeping footfalls through the grand orchestra of nature. Your world is a kaleidoscope of hues and textures, offering both a gauntlet and a haven to those who dare to traverse its breadth. As night falls once more, the silver moon casts a tranquil glow upon your camp. Ahead, more challenges no doubt lie swathed in suspenseful silence. You gather around smoldering fires where shadows play across faces, shadowed with the stories of the day. Tales unfurl around the flames, war stories told in somber tones, the landscapes of which carry as much weight in your memories as the battles themselves. Against tonight's celestial canvas, you briefly indulge in the whimsy of being a small part of this vast, unruly land. The odyssey you're on is a test of endurance and adaptation, each battlefield another chance to leave footprints, brief imprints of human struggle upon the Earth's timeless stages. Though weary and worn, your spirit soldiers onward, bolstered by both the stark beauty and unwavering challenge offered up by the planet's ever-changing face. As a mercenary, it's not just how you fight, but where, that shapes your ever-intriguing, always unpredictable journey. The road stretches endlessly onward, an uncharted path beckoning your courage into the unknown. As dawn breaks, you rise from the damp grass, brushing the residue of yet another restless night from your clothes. The clatter of nearby armor and the low murmurs of waking men remind you that, beyond the beauty of the land, there's a relentless, practical side to the life you've chosen. It's a truth that weighs heavily, particularly when it comes to pay your promised reward for enduring this haphazard lifestyle. The lure of mercenary work isn't just adventure, it's the tangible promise of coin. Gold, silver, or good old copper. The jingle of a full pouch is the music every mercenary hopes to hear, though reality often sings a different tune. Your earnings are meant to be your buffer against the unpredictable hardships of this nomadic life. But it's a system almost as flawed as the grand schemes of nobles who employ you. The harsh truth is that pay is rarely timely, and even less frequently as generous as first pledged. More often than not, your earnings fall prey to delays and deductions, and sometimes outright deceit. The gap between what is promised and what is delivered can be as wide as the horizon you march toward, an unsettling reminder of the smoke and mirrors that accompany your contract. You're all too familiar with the cloak and dagger antics of lords who, well schooled in the art of negotiation, obscure their obligations with slippery words. You might see the glimmer of gold only to find it consumed by unexpected expenses or claimed by shadowy taxes invented for the occasion. In this medieval game of fiscal hide-and-seek, you cannot let your guard down. Studying the parchment detailing these dubious agreements is an art. Every flourish and flourishless line harbors traps as deadly as any you'd encounter on a battlefield. How many have found themselves betrayed by signatures inscribed with meaning that shifted more with every skirmish and siege? Historians still argue whether these financial discrepancies were the product of systemic abuse or simply an unpoliced practice. Did the lords plot mischief, or did war's chaos itself lead to such fiscal depravity? The debate continues, relentless as any raging river. Caught between Spartan wages and the constant need for provisions, you find your options dwindling. Supplies are lifelines, thin as spider silk, echoing the sound of coins inadequate for basic sustenance. The notion of a feast is often a romantic mirage rather than reality. Your table filled not with plenty, but with simple helpings of mendicant gruel. Despite these austerities, you learn to adapt, weaving survival instincts into the tapestry of your everyday actions. Barter becomes second nature, where multiple realms exist side by side. Buoyed by the opportunity to exchange goods, maybe some finely carved trinket can overshadow the worth of your meager pay. Yet, for every tale of financial betrayal, there exist those rare and remarkable moments where the purse is full and the wine flows like an unending summer's day, at least temporarily staving off the grim spectre of destitution. Here, beneath the canopy of stars, you share in those hasty celebrations where laughter challenges darkness, and camaraderie transcends monetary reward. In this peculiar economy, confidence is a commodity as indispensable as steel. You hearken back to those fleeting festivities, and the glittering coins now spent, as their echo carries you through the lean times and ever-dimming reflection against the harsh reality of your profession's fiscal promises. Navigating these financial landscapes, you understand that wealth among mercenaries is measured by resilience rather than abundance. It's about the courage to press onward as sand scrapes underfoot, and the clear understanding that the shimmering treasure map might be nothing more than a handful of dust. Every newly drawn contract serves as both shackles and hopeful opportunity, binding your fate to an employer from whom you must wrench every shilling, cajole every payment with a tenacity forged in iron and persistence. Such is the mercenary's march across the pages of history, a testament to survival against all odds. As the day grows long, you find yourself pondering once more beneath the layers of your worn cloak, a threadbare guardian against predatory winds, whether tomorrow will bring the sheen of gold or the empty echo of promises forsaken. It seems certain that whatever awaits, you shall soldier on until coin and fate align. This uncertainty, though daunting, is the essence of what you've chosen. It's a life caught in the tension between promise and reality, fortune and futility, charted under the lights of distant, welcoming fires. Your vigil holds steady, ready to seize opportunity when it sparks to life. For isn't the true art of the mercenary not only to fight but to persevere? You rise to greet another day, the chill air a familiar yet unwelcome companion, pressing its way through the gaps in your worn cloak. It's time once again to confront the challenges of mere survival in this harsh and unpredictable world. As a mercenary, the day-to-day necessities often loom larger than the battles themselves. Food, shelter, warmth, three simple words that weave together the fabric of your existence. You've quickly learned that securing those basics requires more ingenuity and resilience than the warrior's art of combat. You tread a fine line each day, balancing between scarcity and the essential reprieve that even a scant reward from the field can bring. A mainstream historical fact to note: the medieval period wasn't known for its culinary delights, at least not for the likes of you. Meals are cobbled together from whatever can be hunted, foraged, or begged from the land you traverse. You find newfound appreciation for grains, salted meats, and hard cheeses, provisions that won't spoil on the road and can be stretched to sustain an army inching through endless miles. Add to this the occasional turnip or onion pilfered from an unguarded plot, and voila, a feast fit for a resilient mercenary. Thus, when evening settles and fires flicker to life around the encampment, the smell of burning wood melds gently with the rudimentary concoction sputtering over flames. The air thickens with steam, carrying with it the reminder of labor and fellowship, even when that fellowship is more of necessity than choice. Yet sometimes your belly remains disappointingly empty. Historically speaking, many in your shoes have faced the rumbling protest of underfed stomachs, learning to ignore it as they pressed forward. Hunger becomes a constant, a silent, annoying companion, whispering at the edges of your resolve. Yet with time, you understand its rhythm, an unlikely metronome ticking alongside each hour of your journey. Shelter is another capricious ally, often scarce, and always elemental. Under a canopy of stars, your bed might be simply the earth itself, cushioned only by a thin roll or a stranger's kindness who extends a half-rotted barn's unfinished roof. When fortune smiles, and your endeavor serendipitously tangles with a gracious host, you may find refuge in a modest inn, its walls guarding you from the night's chill. Every gust of wind whispering through your temporary abode reminds you that permanence is a luxury belonging to another life. You grow attuned to the symphony of trees swaying like pendulums in the wind, a guiding force as familiar as a comrade in arms, urging you forward. And then there's the task of keeping warm, an endeavor marked with cobbled ingenuity. It could mean curling within the folds of a comradeship blanket or relying on an extra layer hastily stitched from scavenged cloth. The open campfire, when available, is both a familiar companion and a flickering sentinel banishing the cold to the edge of darkened woods. As you huddle closer, drawing warmth not only from flickering flames but from tales and murmured dreams shared amongst myrmidons, you realize that these small hearths weave communities, however temporary. Brittle tension from daily hardship is softened by this gathering, where bonds are tempered like fine steel, even in the face of scarcity. A quirky or fringe tidbit comes to mind. In some places, soothsayers and local healers would leave talismans or tokens near encampments, believing these symbols could ward off ill fortune or summon better weather. Did it work? Likely not, but where hope is a dwindling tinder, any kindling could spark solace within beleaguered hearts. Despite the dire circumstances that often define your journey, you come to understand that these experiences draw out your most resilient instinct. Survival is not a simple checklist, it's a testament, a rite of passage met daily, triumph stitched into the quilt of the human spirit. Weathering the elements and responding with tenacity ensure that each sunrise is met with renewed vigor, shielded against the backdrop of constant uncertainty. While some may argue the validity of enduring such trials if the path chosen is wise or folly, those indeed ring unfamiliar to the ears of the resolute. Historians still argue whether medieval mercenaries were truly equipped for survival or merely tossed into the tempest hoping to stay afloat. Yet there you stand, a testament to human endurance. They'll continue their debate, but your tale, marked by resilience, remains your own. As twilight descends once more, you prepare to bed down under this celestial quilt, a remarkably vast blanket, chilled by the night air. Let your dreams carry warmth, buoyed by tales of survival, and the indomitable spark within each firelit gaze around the camp. With every breath rising in the cold night, you recognize an unspoken truth from warriors of old to the mercenaries of tomorrow. The struggle to thrive against towering odds carries a timeless echo. Your journey is one of adaptation, of mastering the art of turning adversity into advantage, stepping forward with conviction beneath the boundless night sky. Thus, you surrender to the night, as shadows glide softly across the landscape, your mind settling into understanding the art of living, in all its raw simplicity. Tomorrow will arrive with new challenges, no doubt, but for now, it's enough to breathe easy, bathed in firelight on a journey weaved intricately with hope. The routine clatter of armor and the snap of leather straps echo around you as the encampment stirs to life. Today, like any other, you take up your trusty blade, running an expert hand over its surface, a well-worn companion that bears as much history as scars. Yet, in the unpredictable world of a medieval mercenary, one glaring truth remains. The tools of your trade are often anything but reliable. Weaponry and armor, integral to your survival, are whatever can be afforded, scavenged, or, on fortunate occasions, bestowed by a generous master. In this realm where martial prowess is paramount, being well-equipped can mean the difference between standing victorious and falling forgotten into the annals of history. A good sword, they say, holds a keen edge and reliable balance. Yet what your hand frequently closes around is a crude facsimile. A mainstream historical fact attests to this disparity. While knights may polish their steel to a shine and etch ancestral crests onto tempered metal, the average mercenary's sword is a blunt, mass-produced cast-off, perhaps salvaged from battlefields, or crafted with little care by smiths. This lack of quality extends to armor, a patchwork of piecemeal protection that hardly fits right, leaving inescapable gaps that the knife-edged world can exploit. Leather braces here, a mismatched chainmail shirt there, each piece tells a different story, cobbled together across encounters, each a testament to your tenacity and the vagaries of fate. The process of maintaining these mismatched essentials is an art form in itself. Every nick and dent is a puzzle to solve, every missing rivet a troubling question. You find yourself alternating between armor mender and warrior, your solutions as varied and imaginative as the skirmishes that birthed them. Your makeshift repair kit, a few needles, some spare rings from chainmail, thread, and a small hammer becomes its own testament to improvisation. The rhythmic sharpening of blades signals both meditation and necessity, its cadence as familiar to you as a lullaby. There's an irony in such harmony, as survival is sung to the tune of cold metal and careful upkeep, a balance as delicate as the dance of combat itself. But don't think it's all grinding steel and frustrated grunts. Let's remember a quirkier detail that might surprise you. Many mercenaries throughout history believed in fashioning warding marks into their armament. Whether they warded off ill luck or merely bolstered courage, those subtle patterns hinted at an intimate connection with the unknowable, an attempt to enlist cosmic allies in this dangerous game. Despite your meticulous care, your gear can still betray usulent splits in worn boots, rust chewing hungrily at an unguarded steel helm. It's small consolation that even the most pristine armor can bend or break when put to the test. Yet the ingenuity with which mercenaries adapted to these challenges speaks volumes of the human spirit under duress. Empirical evidence supports the adage you can rely only on what's in your grip. Perhaps this truth is what imbues each exit from camp with a steady resolve. Historians still argue whether the limitations of medieval craftsmanship were failures of skill or resources, but for you, each morning is a quiet pledge to defy those constraints once more. Reaching beyond the literal sword and shield, consider the metaphoric, the intangible armor of wit, skill, and the camaraderie stitched among you and your fellow soldiers. It's a bond forged not in iron but in trust, enabling an unspoken communication that flows like water through your rank. Welcome to a world where adaptation is the heart's reflexive beat. When you stride away from the camp, outwardly clad in mismatched protection, your true armor is knowledge of men, of strategy, and of the multifaceted world you've inhabited. From dawn's light until night's shroud, as weapon and armor evolve in the constant cycle of wear and repair, you learn again and again that it is neither gear nor gold that shields you from harm. Instead, it's the subtle twining of intuition and instinct, an embrace of precarious existence that allows you to face yet another day with quiet defiance. So, onward you walk, sword heavy at your side, armor clinking like an echo from the past. In this world where even attire whispers of constant resilience, every step casts ripples across the landscape, carrying with you the untold stories of courage rendered in iron and shadows. As the sun rises, casting long shadows over your path, you move forward, resolute and ready for whatever lies ahead. Your journey with its relentless challenges continues, a silent testament to the timeless endurance of those who dared to wear steel-like skin. The symphony of clanks and clamors fades as the morning unfolds over your encampment, a patchwork of tents and flickering fires. You're not just a soldier, you're part of a community, albeit a temporary and ever-changing one. Welcome to the bustling life of a mercenary camp where blood, sweat, and scraps of camaraderie are braided into the fabric of day-to-day existence. Life here is a raw, unvarnished affair. Between the grind of battle, the camp becomes both sanctuary and crucible. It's a place where you catch your breath between forays into danger, and yet it is an environment that breeds its unique strain of hardship, a constant test of endurance and spirit. As you move among the makeshift shelters, you hear snickers and the shuffle of feetmen cracking jokes to lighten the shadowed mood. Despite its thorns and bristles, there's something comforting and familiar about the camp life. The ever-present scent of wood smoke mingling freely with the odor of earth and sweat, and the sounds of humanity bustling like a hive. One mainstream historical fact: camp conditions for mercenaries were notoriously grim. Hygiene was an afterthought, and disease often spread like wildfire through the cramped living quarters. A simple cut could fester into serious infection in the blink of an eye. You've seen comrades brought low, not by war wounds, but by the invisible enemies lurking in the camp's rank sanitation. The plague is both a whispered threat and a grim reality, coloring your interactions with a sober caution. The thought of recovery from such misfortune is almost a faded memory. Out here, survival often means facing the dichotomous dance with ailments, holding on to morsels of health as jealously as one might guard coin. Yet even in the face of these trials, there's a rhythm to camp life that sustains you. Morning drills might be followed by an impromptu wrestling match or a heated debate over tactics, laughter roaring as loudly as the evening fires. These small islands of levity rise like beacons amidst the muddy routine and exhaustion. Food becomes both sustenance and solace. You join the line for the communal meal, the slap of crude wooden bowls, and the ladle's dip into a steaming pot, marking a ritual as old as time. There's that melody of plunking, boiling stew, and a new mixture of spices, shared like family secrets. What fills your mouth may vary in flavor and consistency, to say nothing of its origin, but the simple act of gathering provides you momentary refuge in familiarity. The genuine bond between companions is stitched with these shared experiences. Each glance and nod exchanged across the crackling fires speaks of silent understandings, a language woven from the threads of hardship endured together. Someone nearby is tuning a lute, its strings humming lightly against the chill night air. The emerging tune is mournful and sweet, resonant with notes plucked to counterpoint the long, arduous days. Music is a balm, uniting the camp in its weaving spell, its notes wrapping everyone in a fleeting embrace. Quirky or fringe tidbit: mercenaries sometimes adopted mascots. A stray dog here, a village cat there, creatures whose survival paralleled their own struggles. They became symbols of tenacity, continuing despite chaos and capturing hearts with their unexpected pluck and loyalty. Fracturing yet confirming the bonds that bind, these small diversions grow into a poignant reflection of your life, where identity becomes intermingled with a cause, a history, and others' songs, each a thread in the chaotic weave of this marching legion. The debates rage around you, the intricacies of a skirmish replayed through different eyes, each contributing quivering fragments to the larger image. Your decisions are not made in isolation, but forged in an alloy of minds, each insight adding another ripple to the spectrum of possibilities discussed long into the sleepless night. Historians might argue whether such campfire discussions shaped, shifted, or merely echoed decisions made far beyond the smoke's intimacy. But here, within the confines of your movable home, you cannot deny their influence. A mercenary's life, after all, is as much about adapting strategy as it is about relishing camaraderie. Amidst the fragile barricades, shifts of alertness and rest must be expertly balanced, often detracted only by the prospect of unscheduled perilous structure that breathes in and out like its parameters, swaying to constant rhythms orchestrated by expectation versus reality. As stars begin to dot the night sky, a hush settles over the camp. Perhaps it's the unspoken pause of anticipation or weariness tainted with resolve. Whatever it is, you cling to this moment of stillness before battle cries awaken you once more to the world's tribulations. Each night mimics the countless before it, yet no two are truly alike, leaving the distinct imprint of transient, flickering light mingled seamlessly with collective experiences. So here you rest, eyes heavy but senses attuned, nestled in the heart of a tiny chaos masterpiece that beats with the combined fire of innumerable souls, the heart of life in a medieval mercenary camp. Shadows lengthen, words fade, and for now, collective dreams drift upon the breeze, leaving you humbled by the sheer audacity of survival itself. The camp stirs in the dim, pre-dawn light as you prepare for another day at the mercy of fate and the allure of coin. Here, friendships form quickly, blossoming under the strain of shared duty and the looming spectre of battle. But these alliances are as fleeting as morning dew, shimmering with promise only to evaporate when the heat of conflict arises. In the unpredictable world of mercenaries, loyalty is both a commodity and liability. The collective goal might unite you, but deep down, everyone is looking out for number one. You are bound together not by blood or creed, but by the common practice of survival, where trust is more practical necessity than heartfelt bond. In this world of shifting allegiances, friendships are often tested in the crucible of conflict. You might find yourself side by side with a companion today, only to meet them later across the battlefield, swords clashing in a dance dictated by rapidly changing loyalties. One day, a staunch ally. The next, a temporary foe recital repeated across the years and lands you traverse. The transient nature of these relationships is mirrored in the structure of mercenary contracts themselves. Words bind you to one master today and another tomorrow, shifting allegiances as casually as you might switch a cape. This reality creates a unique social dynamicon, in which loyalties can change direction more swiftly than an archer's arrow. A mainstream historical fact, during the medieval period, it wasn't unheard of for mercenaries to switch sides during a battle, lured by better pay or promises of wealth. This was often driven by the simple knowledge that one's current employer might renege on agreements the second they become inopportune. As you tread cautiously between these fragile alliances, the need to maneuver politically becomes almost as vital as wielding a weapon. Balancing loyalty with self-preservation is a knack, an art honed through countless encounters that threaten to reforge your heart in steel. Conversations around the evening campfire reveal cautionary tales, whispered lessons discussing strategies for sidestepping treachery while gaining the trust necessary for unity. Here, thin lines between friend and foe can fade, blurring into grey areas where your choices determine the path ahead. In this shadow-hued region, every decision, every promise, is loaded with the weight of potential consequence. A quirky or fringe tidbit. Lore whispers of mercenary bands who carried Coldest, a sort of proto-political playbook marked with cryptic symbolsto, keep their dealings straight. While historians debate the existence or authenticity of such guides, it adds an intriguing layer of mystery to their negotiation practices. Your time spent navigating loyalties contributes to a mercenary's toolkit as indispensable as any sword or shield. But above all, lies the innate understanding that real wealth is found in those rare, unshakable alliances forged against the chaos of warfare. These are the comrades who earn your trust through actions and hardship, binding together in a steadfast rock amidst crashing waves. However, the delicate dance of loyalty requires constant vigilance. You can well imagine the scenarios where one wrong step could upend everything, a cascade of consequences unfolding far beyond foresight. It's a world where saying the wrong thing to the wrong person could shift the course of destiny itself. Historians argue whether this relentless cycle of shifting loyalties eroded trust more than it built solid alliances. Were mercenaries victims or masters of the games they played, a perilous symphony directed by ambition and survival? Regardless of scholarly musings, you know the ground rules of your existence, understanding when to speak, when to listen, when friend becomes foe and vice versa, are skills that may well save your life. The world of shifting alliances is mercurial, as is the life you've chosen. As the chill of night falls once more over the camp, thoughts swirl like autumn leaves in a swirling gust. Somewhere nearby, a comrade softly strums a lute, weaving emotions into notes that hang suspended in the crisp air. It's a moment of respite and reflection, a chance to almost forget. The wistful melody ebbs and flows, carrying with it the weight of memories and the promise of unclaimed tomorrows. As the evening draws to a close and stars begin their vigilant watch, you settle into sleep, marveling at how the mercenary life is so distinctly defined by impermanence, yet so richly vivid in the experiences gifted by each day. It's a tapestry woven from thousands of shared moments, some true, some as ephemeral as dreams. This dance continues, feet stepping lightly over the fragile bridge of loyalty and self-preservation, a waltz that echoes and endures across the passage of time. The night deepens around you, enveloping your thoughts in tender darkness. You imagine the camp as a microcosmic universe, each tent a constellation, every soul a star, and as sleep gently embraces you, the knowledge that such loyalties, no matter how fleeting, leave traces that cut as deeply as the sword at your side. Morning arrives with a low mist curling through the camp, painting the world in muted greys as you stir from your slumber. The tranquility of dawn is deceptive, a mere curtain to the tumultuous task ahead. For today, strategy unfurls its intricate scrolls, a vital element in the mercenary trade where wit can determine the outcome as decisively as any blade. Your life as a mercenary is as much defined by strategy as force, a lesson you've learned through countless campaigns. The battlefield is a chessboard, each move calculated, each decision pivotal. It isn't just about who has the most soldiers, but about how effectively they are deployed. Strategy becomes your enigmatic mentor, shaping tactics and illuminating paths where straightforward might falters. A mainstream historical fact to consider is the profound impact of strategy during the 100 Years' War, where innovative tactics like the English longbowmen and the use of strong defensive positions turned the tide of battles. Within the camp, commanders gather round rudimentary maps etched into the dirt, their outlines shifting under the breeze and tentative boots. Here, among scattered stones and streams traced by fingers, you recognize the theater of what a wide expanse of endless possibilities, and no small amount of danger. Your role is clear. Whether you're poised as the sharp spearhead of an offensive or a guardian flank, it all hinges on a tapestry of decisions woven by those around you. Strategy dictates when you march, when to hold, when to charge with the ferocity of a storm, or retreat with the grace of a shadow. Tactics could vary, some favoring deceit, others relying on sheer force, but for you, adaptability is key. Each battlefield presents a new puzzle, an intricate pattern where the terrain and opposing forces shape every move. Think like water, you're told flowing effortlessly through obstacles, bending yet never breaking. During the lull preceding battle, you find yourself intently observing your surroundings. A rise that offers hidden vantage, a smooth path that silently beckons ambush. Learning to read the landscape becomes second nature, each subtlety another brushstroke in the painting of potential victory. Such strategic understanding isn't just left to high command, it filters through the ranks, weaving into the everyday fabric of mercenary life. You discuss tactics over shared rations, hashing out moves in whispers as creative minds dance around infinite possibilities. Yet, amid this calculated chaos, there are occurrences that defy planning, frustrating anomalies that render even the finest strategy void. Historians still argue whether these unpredictabilities were harbingers of fate or mere disruptions crafted by the world's whim. Modern strategists might glean from the past and question the antique methods or adapt them into new iterations. But for you, every lesson learned in this terrain remains invaluable. The past is a tutor, yet you remember that the enemy learns too, adapting like wolves in the night to new trickery. As battle approaches, anticipation crackles through the air, energizing you like an electric current. This is the delicate prelude before war's symphony, a last moment to fortify resolve. Thoughts swirl between tactical considerations and the human element, that volatile variable that defies rational prediction. Quirky or fringe tidbit. It wasn't uncommon for mercenaries to carry small tokens or charms, believing they carried strategic luck. Whether superstitions ring true or not, every bit of reassurance becomes a welcome ally. The distant blare of a horn cuts through your thoughts, calling the company to arms. Armor is adjusted one final time, swords drawn with a whisper of steel on leather. Your heartbeat falls into rhythm with the collective pulse surrounding you, merging squad intentions with your own. Words exchanged with your comrades are spare yet potent, tethered to the sturdy bonds formed over countless shared trails. As you surge forward into the rising sun, every nerve tuned sharp, you realize all training and tactics have led to this crescendo, a dance with destiny played on fields of fire. Strategy is a loyal companion, but it is your own intuition and courage that guide you through the inferno. The battle's chaos unravels around you, time fading into nothing but blur and clarity, until at last the storm passes. As the dust settles, you regroup, body alive with the adrenaline of survival and the raw awareness of strategy's unfurling tapestry. The battlefield might become mere ground again, and yet each victorious breath becomes a testament to the lessons learned. Strategy, it seems, is the canvas, and you the brush creating, erasing, crafting narratives out of grit and guile. Tomorrow will once again stretch endless before you. The game of foreshadow and tactic is never truly over. As you rest that evening, the fires of the camp only just beginning to beckon the moon, you sink into quiet contemplation. The shadows that played their part on this day dissolve into introspection, and you hold tightly to the cusp of what strategy has taught you how to move fluidly through the challenges of this itinerant life. Strategy, an unseen ally at times, echoes through the night with your silent vow to meet whatever lies ahead, head on and with unwavering spirit. The future is, after all, another puzzle begging to be solved in this labyrinthine journey you continue to embrace. As you gather yourself once more, the fires of the recent battle dying quietly in memory, your mind drifts to tales of honor and chivalry that linger at the edges of this brutal profession. The medieval world loved its stories of noble knights and their valiant quests. But as a mercenary, you walk a different and far grittier path, one where the lines between right and wrong blur, with a swirl of dust in the air. Chivalry is often professed as an ideal, wrapped tightly in gilded armor and heroism. But from your vantage point, stripping away the shine reveals a different landscape, riddled with moral gray zones and choices made in survival's name. In truth, the world of mercenaries dismantles the romantic sheen, elbow deep in the raw, unvarnished reality, where survival occasionally trumps honor. A mainstream historical fact to ponder: the concept of chivalry did indeed influence medieval mercenaries to an extent, especially those who aspired to make reputations as knights one day. Yet for most, the ideals of gallantry and nobility were often distant dreams rather than the codex by which they lived day to day. Instead, pragmatism shapes your code of conduct, an unspoken scaffolding forged in necessity rather than noble principles. You learn quickly that ideals may guide thought, but survival guides action. It is a truth that steers you through altercations both on and off the battlefield, where decisions are shaped less by romantic ideals than the stark calculus of life and death. Some of your companions may still cling to the idea of chivalry, invoking it in arguments over campfire ales as if its mere mention could summon a phantom past. Among these are those who don banners with familial crests, whispers of noble aspirations hidden beneath their well-worn armor, dreams of glory that cast light even into the darkest corners. Within this realm, the true honor at stake often lies within the loyalty shared silently among your comrades. This is where trust is built not on legend, but action, the unvarnished authenticity of lives intertwined through toil and tears. Here lies a different story of nobility, one crafted by battles fought shoulder to shoulder, defying the tides of fate together. The unification of purpose adds genuine depth to the word honor. Despite the allure of knightly ideals, a whisper of practicality always follows the camp's laughter. You remind yourself that stories told around the crackling fire often morph into legends once they spill into the morning's light, their details carefully unwrapping fiction. Fascinated youths and historians alike still argue whether medieval mercenaries held any true allegiance to chivalric codes, or if they skillfully walked between worlds like mercurial tricks of shadow. Yet, within these shades of grey, there are moments when honor lights the way through the dark, unexpected and unbidden. A companion saves another at personal risk. A fellow raises a shield over a wounded stranger amidst chaos. These flashes of the authentic may not fit neatly into chivalric annals, yet they define mercenaries' stories. A quirky or fringe tidbit of interest: some mercenary companies adopted unique mottos, brash sayings emblazoned on banners or sung in raucous chorus to demonstrate their own codeless, knightly and more grounded, yet empowering despite tales of old. Courage itself comes in variations, sometimes reflected in the mirrored surface of historical texts, yet often more potently found in nuanced encounters, those overlooked nuances where perspective shatters illusion. The sheer complexity involved in surviving and thriving amidst chaos requires an unyielding perseverance, the silent recognition that honor can spring from the simplest acts of perseverance and bravery. In this journey, you understand that strength isn't fashioned from unyielding ideology, but from a mosaic of resilience. Such is the singular beauty that Yuvan as a hired hand heir, not confined to a single definition of honor, instead revisiting and reshaping it day by day as circumstances demand. Under tonight's starlit sky, you gather your thoughts like soldiers to combat, welcoming respite in the reality of an existence where chivalry may sometimes echo faintly, but where true valor emerges from actions rather than illusions. As the night whispers on, and conscience mingles gently with weariness, you realize it's not the pale ideal of knightly chivalry that buoyed you through the day. Instead, it's the tangible integrity entrenched among Mercenaries, different honor crafted from survival and fellowship, yet undeniably full. The shadows stretch long into the night, each infused with mystery and shared experience, and tomorrow will arrive demanding new interpretations of valor. Tonight, however, your dreams wade through a realm where survival and honor are intricate allies, reflecting the deep truth one finds at the heart of a soldier's tale. As the new day breaks, you find yourself pondering the myriad complexities that define your existence as a medieval mercenary. Among these complexities is a legal landscape as treacherous and unpredictable as any battlefield you've navigated. The law, if it can be called such, offers little sanctuary in the shadowy world, where hired blades serve as both judge and jury. Legal protection in your line of work is a fickle mistress, more myth than reality. For a mercenary, statutory defense is as rare as a sunny day in a tempest. You dance around the margins of legality, where protections and rights are as fluid as the loyalties that bind you. Yet, survival demands you understand this ever-shifting terrain. Historically speaking, mercenaries often found themselves caught in a legal limbo, operating outside the typical societal structure. While knights and lords enjoyed certain protections under the feudal system, you are considered a transient force here today, gone tomorrow leaving you with very little in the way of legal recourse. This life is governed as much by contracts and oaths as it is by the structure of an absentee legal system. Contracts you sign are often more like suggestions, promising more than they deliver, a breach of agreement, and suddenly the parchment and ink meant to protect you become insubstantial as smoke. Yet, this system, or lack thereof, does not always favor those in power. The threat of retribution or rebellion looms if you and your fellow mercenaries feel wronged, a swift reminder that while the law may be quiet, strength in numbers can roar. To a beleaguered lord, a disgruntled company of mercenaries may seem more a threat than a safeguard. It's in this murky realm that the true business of legality takes root, a delicate dance of perceived rights and actual might. You become adept at reading the informal codes that guide this world, grounded less in parchment than wisdom gleaned from experience and intuition. Promises written on the wind require fortitude and forethought at your side. Despite the absence of formal legal tools, you learn to wield other mechanisms, bartering kindnesses for favors, securing expectations through whispers and unofficial pledges transmuted beneath the watchful eyes of the camp. Sometimes justice is found among the constellation of stars shaped in mud and allegiance. Historians still debate the nature of mercenaries' legal standing. Were you outlaw or enigma? A necessary chaos that defied classification. One thing remains etched clearly. Out here, justice cannot wait for the ink to dry. It lives in muscle, action, and the clearest form of understanding survival, immediate and tangible. In the camp, disputes unravel quickly, settled by peers whose wisdom is as weathered as their scabbards. Transgressions might range from theft to treachery. Trial held under an impartial sky with fairness a currency unto itself. You stand before this rudimentary court, wary and steady, trusting that all eyes watch both offender and accuser alike. Justice, when delivered, is as much a teaching as it is a reckoning, a precise combination of resolve and resilience, a sentence carried across the firmament, an earthen balance humming with echoes of tradition, unscripted, yet powerfully binding. The fringe of this quasi-justice stems from necessity. Not all camps share the same balance, with caution serving the wary. The law of the forest claims its dues through disrobed hubris, reminding all of the watching fates when patience unravels. A quirky or fringe tidbit. Across camps, a curious tradition sometimes persists where disputing parties are given a day allotted as truce time within which to resolve their differences through conversation or competition before matters spiral. This respite saves bloodshed and preserves a semblance of order. Tonight, these reflections find cool resolution in knowing that the stones tread by your feet remain a choice unyielding, demanding both practical energy and intellectual agility. Such is the world fortune grants, with one hand open with promises and the other stealing the ground beneath you. As your eyes defy gravity and drift to repose, thoughts meander into the night. You drift away, secure in the understanding that even without a codified legal aegis, wisdom through experience and strength through unity guide a hand steadier than legislation. The night gathers you in its embrace, remnants of camaraderie etched within this collective psyche, reminding you of an unshakable truth. Among the letters and laws turned less tangible than a dream, those who persevere ultimately etch their mark upon history's temperamental pages. Sleep well, for tomorrow the uncharted legal jungle presents new trails to traverse in shadow and light, with justice shrouded in all its wary, unpredictable glory. As dawn paints the horizon with its golden brush, you rise to confront the often overlooked challenge of navigating a tapestry of languages and dialects that weave through the mercenary life. Communication, after all, is the unsung skill behind every stratagem and negotiation, an invisible thread binding your fate to those around you. In this kaleidoscope of cultures, the camp is a veritable Tower of Babel, where voices rise in a cacophony of tongues. French mingles with Italian, the clipped tones of German blend with the rolling lilts of Welsh, and within this symphony, you find yourself an eager participant. Language is a currency of its own here, a crucial trade that transcends the physical borders of your ever-shifting circumstances. A mainstream historical fact highlights how the medieval period was a melting pot, with Latin as the lingua franca of scholars and clergy, while mercenaries like you often juggled multiple dialects, each word a bridge or a barrier depending on how it was wielded. This necessity for communication molds you into a linguist by experience, if not by choice. Words become a vital arsenal alongside steel, unlocking doors to alliances and revealing traps cleverly disguised in pretty speech. You pick up the nuances of phrases that unearth humor or danger, the intent concealed within syllables, both soft and sharp. Day by day, you unravel layers of meaning from your fellow soldier's exchanger, guttural laugh indicating jest, a steely command signaling direct action, a whisper of threat cloaked in civil discourse. In this delicate ballet, mastering the fine art of understanding becomes paramount for survival. Yet, it's not only words that you decipher. The silent lexicon of gesture and expression weaves its tale. Narrowed eyes that signal a question, the subtle lean of a body that hints urgency, or the inclining head that offers camaraderie. You absorb these silent conversations just as surely as any spoken dialect, the arrangement of nuanced dialogue flowing not just through the ear, but through the heart and mind. Misunderstandings, all too common within this tapestry of tongues, can spiral quickly into chaos. A misinterpreted command in the clamor of battle, a misunderstood insult in the intimacy of campfire circle siege, possesses the combustible potential to unravel unity in an explosive instant. Quirky or fringe tidbit. It's whispered that some mercenary camps developed hand signals, resembling a rudimentary sign language, a practical tool, allowing communication across the noise of battlefields or the silence behind enemy lines. Whether these secret gestures were born out of necessity or strategic genius remains a tantalizing mystery. In the negotiation of contracts or alliances, language holds the dagger's edge. A shrewd commander may sway a decision with a turn of phrase, tilting the scales in favor or plummeting deals into perdition through honeyed speech designed to beguile. It's a dynamic dance in which every articulation carries weight beyond its definition. Historians still argue whether the multilingual abilities of medieval mercenaries were a simple byproduct of their itinerant lifestyle or a strategic edge deliberately honed. Yet, the art of communication undoubtedly plays a silent yet potent role in the chronicles of success and survival. The mastery of language empowers you personally as well, an invisible chain linking the known to the unknown, a thread stretching across lands and cultures. Each word learned and each misunderstanding overcome is another step in the formation of your character, adding facets to your identity beyond the battlefield. Yet, in this multitude of voices, you discover something more profound and unspoken: kinship. Despite the disparate accents and varied dialects, a common thread emerges: shared effort, collective goals, and the undying will to persevere amidst the chaos. Phrases of encouragement, words of kindness, and shared laughter reveal a heart beating with unity amid the discordant harmonics. Evening falls, and the camp settles beneath the sprawling twilight sky. Against the backdrop of quiet voices, you carve moments of understanding out of the raveled threads of 1,000 languages, savoring the pocket of space carved out through shared words and glances. As the stars twinkle into the canvas of night, you find quietude in this linguistic dance, contemplating its intricate role in your evolving story. Sleep beckons, but your last conscious thoughts linger on the bridges built from words as firmly as stone. At peace within the cradle of distant conversations, you drift into slumber, cradled by dreams woven from the many voices that paint your world with color and meaning. As you succumb to the embrace of night, your dreams intertwine with the whispers of the past and the promises of tomorrow, a lullaby sung in the universal language of the heart. As the camp stirs to life beneath a sky streaked with the hues of dawn, another transition unfolds, a familiar yet daunting task of shifting between employers. The mercenary world is ever in flux, a constant negotiation of allegiances where your fate intertwines with the whims of those who wield power. The march of time in this life is accompanied by a revolving door of lords and leaders who desire your services. Each transition brings a delicate interplay of diplomacy and resolve. You become skilled at sensing the undercurrents, the ripples of change that herald new loyalties, or suggest opportunistic bids from those who seek to command your prowess. One mainstream historical fact underlines the transient nature of mercenary life in medieval times. Bands of soldiers were often contracted for the duration of a specific campaign, analogous to a term-limited assignment, only to disperse or switch sides once the battles ended. In the quiet moments of a camp disbanding, you reflect on the oddity of packing up both memories and gear, fragments of a life lived intensely but briefly in the service of one lord. Farewells are shared with comrades who have walked into your life for a moment, leaving footprints alongside your own before vanishing into the fog of war's randomness. It's a poignant blend of camaraderie and ephemerality, this moving on. Historians still argue whether these transitions weakened the fabric of loyalty amongst mercenaries, or if they instilled a sense of resilience, honing their ability to adapt swiftly to new orders under unfamiliar banners. The debate meanders through academic corridors, but within the ranks, you learn the pragmatic truth: change is the only constant, and adaptability the surest armor. The process of courting a new employer resembles a dance zone of quick steps and measured pauses, every movement calculated to secure an advantageous position. Reputation, whispered about or shouted aloud, becomes your calling card. Tales of past glories are polished until they shine bright enough to catch the attention of eager, noble eyes. Your weapon has proven itself. True, but words, the spin of a tale woven over wine, become equally potent allies in this endeavor. Upon arriving at the tent of your next employer, you find faces new and old appraising you, each measuring your worth in their own manner. You engage in this silent dialogue with a knowing smile, understanding that the bartering of skill, experience, and potential loyalty runs as deep as any contract, inked into waiting parchment. Quirks among mercenary bands thrive during these transitions, some choosing to swap distinctive tokens or insignias to herald loyalty to a new leader. These badges of allegiance serve both as a source of pride and practical necessity, declaring affiliation without a word as campaign trails take you through rival lands. Navigating these exchanges demands intuition sharpened by past dealings. You sift through promises, rendered speech, and innuendo, passing truth from bravado. The contracts may grow or diminish, but your inner compass steers you toward choices that echo with possibility and promise an alliance, where potential fortune outweighs the risk and betrayal shadows every possible deal. Alongside this dance of discretion, relationships evolve within rapidly formed ranks. You weave between familiarity and formality, tracing unspoken hierarchies among your newly bonded allies. Faces become known, intentions understood, the trust-building process preceding the clarion call to battle. Amidst the uncertainty lies a constant, comforting hum. Conversation flows in the camp as campfires flicker into the night, transforming strangers into allies, voices intertwining into a chorus of anticipation and hope. This delicate balance of new allegiance and established protocol becomes your home temporary, but convincingly real. A quirky or fringe tidbit whispers through the ranks. It's said that a mercenary's skill at switching sides quickly and effectively earns some groups playful monikers like ribbon dancers, weaving loyalty with nimble eloquence. An amusing aside, yet strangely accurate, in light of your constant navigation of social landscapes. On this swirling dance floor of the mercenary life, You find exhilaration in the rhythm of change. While others may question the volatility, to a mercenary such as you, the ability to pivot swiftly, decisively becomes an art, practiced beneath changing skies. As night descends, you slip into dreams, images rolling like clouds across your mind, whispering of paths yet traversed and contracts yet signed. Your journey continues, wrapped in the assurance that you have danced this measure before. Each new employer offers a suite of unknown trials, tests, and triumphs yet undefined. Yet within this whirlwind of perpetual transition, you hold the spirit of adaptability close as a cherished tool, finding comfort in its predictability amidst the unpredictability of tomorrow. You drift into slumber's embrace, the gentle thrum of transition within your heart, as constant as the stars that pave your nocturnal path, guided by the promise that change, though transient, forges strengths unseen. The camp awakens, casting off the gentle grasp of night as the sun dabbles in muted palettes across the sky. Today, your path leads you once again through the tapestry of unfamiliar villages and towns, where the relationship between mercenaries and local populations unfolds in complex, often contentious, layers. Upon entering a settlement weave of half-timbered houses, bustling markets, and wary eyes, you experience the duality of your existence as both a feared invader and necessary protector. This paradox becomes starkly apparent as you navigate the narrow streets, the echo of your boots mingling with the murmurs of everyday life. One mainstream historical fact persists. Medieval townsfolk often held mixed feelings toward mercenaries. They were a temporary bulwark against invading forces, yet simultaneously they embodied the potential for disruption and chaos, a thorny coexistence fraught with tension and necessity. In your wake, mothers gather their children, pulling them close beneath protective arms, and merchants eye you with a guarded calculus, balancing the prospect of profit against potential ruin. The scent of freshly baked bread mingles with the sharp tang of fear, a heady aroma that flavors your every interaction with the villagers. As you scan the crowd, seeking to understand and be understood, you recognize your role as an outsider, a stranger, whose welcome is tenuous at best. Yet amidst skepticism, you find flickers of opportunity. The rub of loneliness abates when you exchange simple pleasantries, or trade a helping hand for a crust of bread, or a bundle of kindling to warm the chill-trimmed tents back in camp. You learn to tread cautiously in this delicate dance with local populations, knowing that every interaction seeds a foundation of perception known you cultivate with careful words and respectful gestures. In this transient life, relationships with those beyond the camp's confines become a tapestry woven of necessity, each thread connecting mercenary and villager in uneasy harmony. Historians still debate whether mercenaries were viewed more as saviors or marauders by the communities they traversed. The balance tipped unpredictably based on your conduct, and the history you wrote through actions taken and promises kept or broken. Villages whisper tales of plunder and pillage perpetrated by those who walked before you. Your challenge is to counteract such narratives with your present, and therein lies the curious dance transforming from spectre to source of potential goodwill, reining in, as history often does, the conflicting forces. In the quiet twilight, beneath the shadow of stone walls, you understand how crucial this intricate web of interactions is, an ever-present balancing act between support and subjugation. The success of your fellowship often depends on what these communities perceive: a shield against encroaching chaos, or a herald of disarray. A quirky or fringe tidbit: in some areas it was common for mercenaries to participate in local festivities, sharing in games and feasts to foster goodwill and dissipate fear. The temporary mingling of lives and laughter extended a measure of humanity rarely afforded to your itinerant existence. Through this lens, the windfalls of mutual respect come into stark relief: food offered willingly, rather than taken by force, shelter granted on storm-battered nights. You remark upon these fleeting kindnesses as though they were treasures of the highest provenance, grounding you in a veil of unfamiliarity otherwise tokenized by suspicion. Despite the challenge of forging connections that never seem to linger, there is a certain satisfaction gained through each arduous negotiation, seeing minds open even as hearts remain guarded. It is a testament to resilience that alliances form at the marketplace and hearth rather than merely the battlefield. You ponder these layers of existence as evening descends, village sounds dimming into a muffled symphony, accentuated by the crackle of distant fires. The silence offers reflection, an opportunity to appraise what efforts might next be asked by this temporary community of which you find yourself a transient part. It's a reminder that though your stay remains inevitably brief, the marks left behind are etched in memory, both yours and theirs, shimmering like insubstantial morning mist that dances briefly before the sun's assertive heat. As you drift into rest, the night cradles you in dreams draped with hopeful futures, bridging mercenary and villager realm. Your journey proceeds along ancient routes, alive with the challenge of reconciling the duality they present, until morning light beckons you forward, once again a traveler in its uncertain embrace. As dawn unfurls her fingers to gently rouse the camp from slumber, you are confronted with the weight of psychological strain that shadows each footfall in the life of a mercenary. It is the silent companion, a spectre that threads through thoughts like fog, rarely addressed but ceaselessly present. The constant dance of vigilance injures more than flesh and bone. It leaves scars upon the psyche, etched deeply by years of battle, uncertainty, and loss. This path you have chosen, a path lined with promises of glory, and fortune carries an often unexpected toll on the mind. The pressures significant and cumulative. Battle's adrenaline brings with it a familiar clarity. You rely on its heightening senses to navigate chaos. Yet, as its intensity ebbs, the chill of introspection seeps in during quieter moments, concealed doubts, unresolved grief, and the burdens of conscience lurking just beyond the veil of attention. One mainstream historical fact speaks to this. Medieval life, rife with warfare as it was, left many to contend with what we now understand as psychological trauma. Called by other names or left unspoken, it was no less heavy, its presence threading through history in echoes both loud and subtle. In camp, your comrades share glances that, beneath familiarity, veil similarly unvoiced strains. Conversation offers refuge, a balm of shared burden that helps lift the invisible weight, even if only slightly. Beneath the camouflaged humor rest layers of silent understanding. Strength, drawn from companionship, persists across endless nights. You neither confront nor conquer this spectre, but rather navigate it with caution. Experience teaches you to accept endurance as a prized ally, one that, nurtured in twilight hours, secures sanity beyond the brink of darkness. Historians still debate the medieval approach to mental health and the degree to which it was understood or treated. Did those who lived before us acknowledge this side of soldiering, or was it shrouded in misunderstanding and silence? Even without conclusive answers, the struggle remains as timeless as it is profound. In moments of respite, you explore methods of maintaining equilibrium, the intricate passing of memories, anchoring yourself with routine, creating rituals for meaning amid chaos. A regimen of sharpening weapons calms the mind. Trusted routines offer familiar ground when everything else swells in uncertainty. It is here, within the silence, that you also find a measure of peace. The grounding calmness of nature offers its own remedy: rustle of leaves, the chitter of distant wildlife, the distant ripple of water under a borrowed moon. For every internal tempest, you search for an external anchor, seeking solace in the world's rhythmic cadence. A quirky or fringe tidbit. Some mercenary bands believed in the power of tokens or talismans to ward off malevolent spirits. Carried for protection, they provided not just external hope, but an internal focus against the shadows of the mind. As day shifts to dusk and the stars quietly claim their dominion, you observe how the mind whispers both wisdom and woe. The unpredictable nightly chorus of dreams reinforces your mortality's fragilized moments of stillness, preceding the return to relentless pacing. Though society may not yet fully grasp the mind's complexities, you wend your way through its labyrinthine passages, growing attuned to its rhythms. It's a constant push and pull, the friction of battles fought outside and in, echoed in a chorus of quiet defiance as each dawn rises. The night's gentle embrace draws close once more, guiding you toward rest. You surrender to a semblance of peace. The silence around you paves your journey inward, through dreams painted with whispered thoughts of courage and compassion, even in this world that all too frequently veers toward overwhelming. The stars above bear silent testimony to humanity's journey, reflecting the unquiet quest within your own heart. Beneath their unwavering gaze, you discover strength within and without, threading gallant resolve in the face of this world with its relentless demands for unbowed courage. As sleep claims you, Your dreams reach toward reconciliation, a weave of light and shadow, touched by hope's luminescence. Ensues a repose, granting brief respite from time's inexorable march, even within the war without. Tonight let sanctuary be found beneath the stars' deco, where arms of twilight cradle bodies and minds. The dawn is slow to pierce the shroud of mist lingering over the camp, serving as a gentle reminder of the ever-present threat posed not only by the enemy's sword, but by a far more insidious dangerousness and plague. In the precarious life of a medieval mercenary, you face foes both seen and unseen. The lurking spectre of disease, looming as a potent adversary, no matter how well armed you are. Hygiene in the camps is minimal, existing in a state of vague acceptance rather than disciplined routine. Water is scarce, and what you find is often tepid and murky, more conducive to spreading sickness than staving it off. Living in such conditions invites intimate familiarity with outbreaks, devastating waves of fever, agony, and loss, sweeping down indiscriminately among the rank. A mainstream historical fact remains that plagues, most notably the Black Death, decimated Europe's population in the 14th century, with mercenaries no less susceptible to its reach. The spectre of disease in the crowded, unsanitary conditions of campaign camps left few untouched by its chilling grasp. Each day brings with it whispers of illness, threading its way through the company. Eyes that once gleamed with determination now dim with fever, bodies strong and capable reduced to shadows of their former selves. The toll exacted is relentless, striking with little warning and often leaving voids behind. Amongst the camp, the fear of contagion shapes vigilance, where routine actions like sharing a meal or shaking hands become shadowed by a silent menace. The touch of a friend's hand can carry unseen peril. A simple cough echoes with the weight of existential dread. Yet, in the crucible of perseverance, your familiarity with illness breeds resilience. In the face of such calamities, camaraderie proves its worth. Compassion becomes currency among mercenaries, sharing remedies, born from folk wisdom, blending traditions and concoctions hoped to ward off the invisible enemy. Quirky or fringe tidbit. Mercenaries might carry pungent herbs like garlic and nettles, tightly bundled and worn as protective amulets against the vapors believed to cause disease. Whether these folk cures carried efficacy or simply lent comfort, they serve as reminders of humanity's attempt to grapple with forces beyond its understanding. Historians still argue whether medieval mercenaries possessed any advantage during pandemics due to their itinerant lifestyles, or if their mobility only compounded exposure to diseases. Regardless, the rigors of battling illness have carved their legacy into the sinews of historical narrative. In the rare sanctuary offered by solitude, whispers of grief often reflect on fallen comrades, painting memories across the confines of your mind. Faces of those lost to the implacable wars or succumbing to unseen forces echo within, urging remembrance even as you continue to march forward. Your own health becomes a finely tuned instrument, each ache or fevered night a cautionary note signaling potential peril. In response, you've cultivated an acute awareness of your body's rhythms, mindful of symptoms both foreign and familiar. Despite precautions, mortality remains your abiding companion. The contemplative moments inspired by its presence urge you to seize upon the joys and small victories gained amidst the tribulations. The clarity that follows such stark acknowledgement of life's fragility reveals beauty even in adversity. Crimson sunset, a rare moment of laughter, and kinship shared over firelight. As twilight drapes softly over the encampment, stars kindle hope within the vast velvet sky. You gather strength, resolute against the gathering shadow. The night whispers its wisdom, reminding you that courage is multifaceted resilience, not only to face armed foes, but to hold steady against the insidious threat of illness. The fires burn low, casting flickering dances of light across the ground, and you secure a space amidst the pelts, where warmth and dreams weave their defense against cooler wind. Seeped in exhaustion, you succumb to sleep, buoyed by the promise of renewal with each dawn's arrival. In the depths of night, the mind journeys through a mosaic of voices and sinisa tapestry of the living, and the remembered intertwined by their shared experiences. Beyond this night, the battle with unseen adversaries will continue, leaving you to wrestle with both fate and form, seeking joy within each moment illuminated by fleeting clarity. Slumber cradles you now, offering respite from this intimately woven struggle. Tomorrow, with new resolve, you will face the dawn, strengthened by your unyielding spirit, a guardian, not only of your life, but of the lives entwined with your own. The soft glow of dawn creeps in, painting the camp in muted hues as the world's complexity stirs alongside you. Today, you find yourself not only part of the mercenary cadre, but also tangled within the deeper threads of religious beliefs and conflicts that permeate medieval life. This isn't just a clash of swords, it's a chess game played on a spiritual board, where the shifting winds of faith and politics blow heavily upon your path. Throughout the medieval world, religion is not just in the air you breathe. It is a force that shapes destinies and dictates loyalties. For mercenaries, existing in this nexus of holy edicts and human desires means navigating yet another intricate reality, where the sacred and secular often collide. A mainstream historical fact to consider is the role of religion in instigating and fueling many conflicts during this era. From the Crusades to smaller skirmishes over religious disputations closer to home, the entanglement of faith with power significantly influences the tides of war. Marching under the blazing cross or defending against adversaries endowed with their divine mandate presents a paradox. You fight for causes that at times ring hollow, or conversely fill your spirit with zeal. It's a perplexing duality. Passions burn strong, even as you question your place in this celestial script. With every chant of Latin verse, every toll of distant bells, you are reminded that, just like swords and arrows, prayers are wielded as weapon. They embolden crusaders, imbue factions with righteous fervor, and ultimately paint the battlefield with a patina of spiritual fervor or forbidden desire. Within this fervent atmosphere, mercenary bands find themselves wrapped in allegiances both chosen and ordained. The camp becomes a temporary house of varied beliefs and warriors, holding tightly to their rosaries, others carrying talismans with runes concealed beneath their tunics, tokens of faith scattered like anchors across this sea of uncertainty. The interplay of religion manifests differently for each. Some see it as divine protection, while others view it through skeptical eyes, a tool in the craft of persuasion rather than revelation. Regardless, these influences ripple through conversations under moonlit skies and the whispered prayers that accompany every battle's dawn. As ever, historians debate the genuine motivations of mercenaries engaged in such religious wars. Were they driven by faith, duty, or the gleam of plunder? While textbooks pontificate, you are left to ponder faith's application under the banners, waving defiantly in the morning light. It is here that you measure those tensions between holy decree and mortal pursuit. Evenings around the campfire tell tales of visions seen, of trials given greater purpose through celestial association or comfort in the mysterious vastness. Discussing contrasts at candlelit vigils, warriors reflect on loyalty offered to more earthly lords over divine directives channeled from the heavenly spheres. A quirky or fringe tidbit filters through. Some mercenaries wear badges or embroidery on their garments with saints depicted for protections. Saint Christopher perhaps bearing a penchant for safekeeping travelers. Such symbols drift through the ranks, tangible markers in a world woven with faith's intangible fabric. With every decision on the battlefield, with every whispered prayer shaped in solitude, the complexity of religion's influence molds your actions, your thoughts shifting beneath the ethereal weight. The divine shines from stained glass and shines upon swords, an invisible architect of design in this chaos. The camp falls silent with evening's arrival, its flickering shadows offering sanctuary. Your heart returns to those enduring questions. How does faith navigate this tumultuous world? And what role does it play in your story woven with shifting allegiances? As you recline against the rough-hewn terrain beneath a tapestry of stars, your breath evens and settles into a meditative rhythm. Dreams cradle you once more, a canvas crisscrossed with entwined paths of battle and belief. Visions hold sway in this twilight's court, gently rocking you towards a realm where reason and divinity hover in shifting union. Under the night's quiet gaze, resolve and reflection intertwine, fortifying you for the challenges of a world where faith is not merely seen, but felt in every step. If anything, it reminds you that as a mercenary, you are not just a bearer of arms, but a thread in the larger tapestry of purpose and faith that holds time's delicate weft. And when dawn breaks again, gilding the camp in its first embrace, you will rise, ready to confront the day, aware that you stand, as always, between the lifted sword and the whispered prayer, a resilient arc between sky and earth, crafted by your own mortal hands. As the sun begins its slow ascent, you awaken not to the immediate clamor of preparation for battle, but to the more settled rhythm of camp life. Today is one of those rare pauses that allow you a moment to reflect on an aspect often overlooked in the chronicles of mercenary existence family. Herein lies the delicate dance of maintaining ties with those who share your blood, while your sword remains pledged to duty. In this harsh medieval terrain, the mercenary life is not solely the domain of solitary warriors. There are those among your ranks who navigate their world with the constant shadow of absent loved ones, and those who perhaps travel with family by their side, sharing in both the hardship and transient joys of camp life. Historically, the tumult of war did not always sever family bonds as sharply as one might imagine. Indeed, many mercenaries left behind families, relying on their wages to sustain their distant kin. Absence carves new dimensions into love and loyalty, redefining family ties through letters carried by wayward messengers, every brief note a message from another world. For those whose families travel alongside them, the camp is colored with unique shades of normalcy. Laughter might drift from a shared tent as children chase each other around makeshift boundaries, the echo of familial life creating small havens amidst the monotony. Yet, the presence of loved ones transforms the battleground into a double-edged sword, offering both solace and an amplified awareness of danger. In these encampments, the mundane mingles with the martial. Everyday tasks hold themselves with a fierce significance: firewood meticulously gathered, water barrels filled from distant streams, clothing patched and repaired. These small acts of domesticity offer refuge within the chaos, each moment a reminder of life outside the battlefield's ferocity. The image of home is a powerful one, and even the most hardened soldiers find themselves drawn to it in thought. Whether it's the warm smile of a partner or the shining eyes of a child, the motivations behind every skirmish or contract are bolstered by hopes of return to embrace and thrive in familial circles once more. There is a quirky or fringe tidbit that tells of some mercenaries carrying small tokens, lockets or ribbons taken from home, lovingly worn beneath armor, serving as silent promises of return. These keepsakes are imbued with personal vows, reminding their bearers of life beyond the transient call of war. Yet, the heart rarely finds ease within such mutable circumstances. Historians still debate whether families traveling with mercenaries were more burden or blessing. Did their presence hinder strategic mobility, or did they infuse the ranks with renewed purpose? Whatever the discourse, the reality of entwined fates originates from bonds neither time nor conflict can easily sever. Within the camp's murmuring life, you recognize the delicate balance between duty and devotion. Balancing loyalties proves constant. The desire to turn swords into plowshares and the critical immediacy of survival through martial prowess remain forever in contention. The campfire becomes a repository for dreams both whispered and caught in fervent ambushes, shared plans to one day choose peace over war, followed by tales spun of golden futures rooted somewhere familiar. As evening falls, this collective hope paints the horizon where each warrior sees an avenue home. Despite war's fragments that threaten reunion, you dwell in the warmth of childlike laughter, and watch as families nurture small gardens or share tales of their past to emulate joys once taken for granted as they mesh layers of memory into the present. This sense of continuity perseveres, transforming despair into moments of camaraderie beyond battle's edge. As night settles, a sense of calm infuses the camp, surrounding your thoughts with the gentle acknowledgement of shared journeys. Whether future paths lead home or to new conflicts, these familial threads weave an intricate tableau, as breathtaking as the stars tracing arcs across the indigo sky. You close your eyes, succumbing to the night's cradle, wrapped in dreams full of faces both near and distant, their presence guiding you through the labyrinthine wonders of hope. In slumber, the bellows of conflict grow muted beneath the whisper of family Tiesa chorus, echoing softly, until dawn once again treads upon this complex path you call home. And so tonight, let peace dwell within you, a steadfast companion, until the dawn returns with its fresh promises and the march toward horizons unexplored resumes. As morning unfolds its gentle embrace upon the camp, you're reminded of an aspect of mercenary life that adds a distinct twist to warfare: the ransom economy. In this era, the battlefield is not just a place of bloodshed, but also an arena for financial maneuvering, where the capture and release of individuals become a game of high stakes. In the medieval world, capturing a high-ranking enemy often meant more than a strategic victory. It presented a lucrative opportunity for both you and your comrades. Crafted beneath the shadow of your sword lies a parallel industry where the fates of individuals are negotiated like commodities at market. The transactional nature of war extends beyond swords and shields to involve delicate diplomacies, solidifying your existence on the razor's edge between combat and commerce. A mainstream historical fact underscores the significance of ransoms during the 100 Years' War, for example. Notable figures' capture could sway entire campaigns. A noble seized on the battlefield could bring a windfall if the ransom was successfully negotiated and obtained. Consequently, securing such a prize could command bountiful sums, elevating a captor overnight with newfound riches. This mercenary life teaches you to view each battlefield encounter not just through the lens of survival, but additionally as an investment venture of a more sanguine nature. Amidst tangled conflict, you become adept at assessing worth, recognizing whether one surrendered foe might fetch a ransom in lieu of a kill. Yet, this particular game is fraught with its own intricacies. Negotiating the delicate balance between life and death demands strategic cunning, a deftness of bargaining whispered within negotiations beyond the roar of combat. It is a world ruled by carefully measured demands, exchanges of letters, and diplomats' tongues. Captured adversaries are sheltered within makeshift tents or secure camps, guarded amid subtle displays of respect for a common, unspoken understanding. Today's prisoner could very well be tomorrow's captor or ally. Lines blur in this curious middle ground, where valor mixes with wealth and status, dictates liberty or continued confinement. Quirky or fringe tidbit suggests some prisoners even engaged with their captors, playing games of chess or sharing tales, these interactions taking place under a truce of knowing, often begrudging, admiration. Such relationships illuminate the nuanced and contradictory nature of this war-touched reality. Historians still argue whether the ransom system humanized or merely commodified warfare. Did it offer soldiers a reason to spare lives or reduce individuals to pawns on an economic chessboard? As with many mercenary stories, the truth likely traces an intricate line between these extremes. On evenings heralded by the final bugle's call, you gather beside the fire, contemplating a future untangled by either ransom or steel. It's a life inspired by both illustrious victories and the intricate debt owed to mercy amid strife. You find unity in knowing that gold earned through a worthy prisoner can spiral beyond briefly held coins, contributing to the broader circles of familial stability and provision. Despite the transactional nature of ransoms, the practice emphasizes the organic intricacies of warfare and acknowledgement of human value, even as foes clash on the field. This mutual comprehension bridges the turbulent world to a domain where dignity equals currency. It forms a tenuous but enduring link weaving realities, otherwise drowned by swords screeching. As stars scatter across the night's canvas, camp tales morph into reflections, discussions of victories and sacrifices alike, twining across nearby fires. The whispers rustle through the silent folds of the camp long into the night, painting dreams both promising and fraught on the horizon of your mind. This evening, as you settle into your corner of rest, ponder the nuances of this curious economy, how lives are measured in both value and virtue. These complexities are recorded not just in pen and ink, but laced within tomorrow's journey's edges, softened by understanding. With that, let sleep enfold you gently, your mind wandering down paths paved with dreams of mercantile triumphs and humane gestures. For even within this calculated dance of fortune and freedom, the heart captures truth rendered richer than gold, a shared humanity glimpsed within an uncertain world. As dawn breaks over the horizon, you find yourself preparing for another advance into one of the most challenging aspects of medieval warfare: siege. The camp stirs to life with a palpable tension as your company readies itself for the grueling demands of siege warfare, where patience and endurance become as critical as any sword or shield. Siege warfare is a formidable test, calling on different strategies and skills compared to the open field. It requires a blend of cunning, resourcefulness, and often brutal persistence. As a mercenary, you stand on the front lines of this drawn-out dance between besiegers and defenders, each testing the limits of human ingenuity and fortitude. In the medieval psyche, castles and fortified towns hold a symbolic weight, the heart of feudal power, strategic points that control territory and wealth. Capturing such bastions offers rewards that far outweigh a traditional victory on the battlefield. Every stone of a captured castle tells tales of triumph and tenacity. One mainstream historical fact underscores the importance of sieges. During the medieval era, siege warfare often had a more significant impact on the outcome of wars than pitched battles. Those capable of enduring a siege could shift the balance of power, and you, as part of the rank and file, play an integral role in this endeavor. As a mercenary engaged in siege warfare, you become familiar with the harrowing intricacies of these campaigns, setting up blockades, constructing siege engines, and enduring prolonged waits under the relentless sun or chilling rainfall while maintaining vigilance against sorties and surprise attacks from the defenders. Siege engines, those marvels of medieval engineering, trebuchets, battering rams, and tower your companions here. Each has its role in breaching the formidable defenses that challenge your resolve. As they are maneuvered into place, their construction transforms the battlefield into an arena of calculated might, a testament to human innovation backed by raw determination. Yet, technology is merely a single aspect of this grand design. You find yourself part of a waiting game rife with psychological warfare, cutting off supplies, and intercepting messages to erode defenders' morale. Every day spent entrenched deepens the tension, a silent contest of wits as each side strains against the other. Quirky or fringe tidbit, songs and chants are often employed by both besiegers and defenders to embolden spirits and maintain morale. These musical volleys become almost as important as the stones flung by trebuchets, casting shadows of inspiration across the weary ranks. As days merge into weeks, a siege becomes a lesson in endurance, the rhythm of life punctuated by moments of intense action and prolonged inactivity. It tests not only your physical strength, but your mental fortitude, demanding tenacity and resolve, pushed to the limits within the embrace of adversity. Within the mercenary camp, camaraderie is both remedy and refuge from this stalemate's monotony. Stories told with bold embellishment and shared laughter weave resilience into the heart of your experience, forging bonds tempered as stoutly as the walls you strive to overcome. Historians still debate whether the success of sieges hinged on superior strategy or sheer perseverance. Were victories won through the brilliance of tactical minds, or the gradual erosion of fortifications weakening under unyielding pressure? Regardless, the role of the humble mercenary cannot be overlooked, ever steadfast within the siege's crucible. At night, the camp settles under star-speckled skies, and you take solace near the warmth of crackling fires. Thoughts meander over the lessons ingrained through this laborious cycle, stamina invoked beneath this vigilant patience, the harmony forged within shared conflict-trove experiences. Sleep comes slowly, peppered with dreams of great castles and besieged cities, their silhouettes crowned by legend and lit by the metaphorical fire of endurance and hope. These structures' stories intertwine with your own, the victor not always determined by the strength of walls, but by the virtues of those who challenge them. The night passes, and as you awaken with the first pale light of dawn, the siege continues. Despite the weariness echoed across the encampment, determination glints in the eyes of those around you. The walls looming on the horizon bear the weight of what's to come. You stand ready, aware that in each siege the forgotten battles, the unyielding struggle, shared humanity, wrestled and reshaped over time's relentless march. And as the day unfolds, your place within this grand narrative is secured by what you bring, not only in strength, but in will, a steadfast promise, scribed by the fiery quill of history. As the first golden rays of dawn touch the camp, they bring with them stories of the unsung heroes in medieval warfare. Women, often overlooked, yet undeniably present, women play crucial roles within the orbit of a mercenary's life, weaving their own threads into the fabric of this tumultuous world. Women in medieval times were more than mere background figures in the tapestry of war. Behind the clamor of battles and the dust of marching ranks, they took on a myriad of responsibilities, from the most traditional supporting roles to those intricacies not readily visible to the casual observer. In this intricate dance of survival and resilience, their influence threads silently yet distinctly. The mainstream historical fact here is that women often accompanied armies, sometimes as camp followers, providing essential services such as cooking, laundering, and nursing. They were integral to maintaining the camp's morale and ensuring that the mundane necessities of life continued despite the proximity of death and conflict. In the camp, you see women bustling about with the dawn, their movements a symphony of quiet purpose. They mend torn garments, nurse wounds with gentle hands, and administer advice and remedies carried within their accumulated knowledge, a compound ointment and heartfelt concern in equal measure. Their presence transforms the camp into more than a mere staging ground for war, endowing it with the semblance of home. But beyond these expected roles, women also influence the mercenary existence in less conventional ways. You hear tales whispered around campfires of women who disguised themselves to join the ranks, fighting alongside men, plying their weapons with skill and determination undistinguished by gender. Through cunning or necessity, they carve paths within this male-dominated domain, challenging traditional boundaries with quiet fortitude. In other instances, women act as vital communicators, forging connections between troops and local towns, or serving as liaison to negotiate terms within the spectrum of conflict. Their diplomacy opens doors barred tight before larger, more ostentatious gesturous instances where a knowing smile or a subtle word spoken in trust diffuses tensions more effectively than any drawn sword. Quirky or fringe tidbit. Folklore sometimes elevates stoic female figures to near-mythical status, time distilling their stories into legenda vagabond queen championing peace, a healer shrouded in mysticism wandering through war-torn fields. Historians still debate the extent of women's influence in the theatre of war. Were they mere participants pulled along by the tide, or active agents shaping outcomes in ways both seen and unseen? The discourse meanders through grand historical narratives, but within the camp, you are aware firsthand of their impact. Compassion and courage mark the cadence of their labor, infusing spirit into exhausted souls. Women gather to share not just the burdens of work, but also laughter and stories, crafting a community foundational to camp life that instills solidarity even amidst life's unpredictable swirls. For you, their presence underscores a vital theme within the vast narrative of war and peace, the interconnectedness of roles. Every task, no matter how humble or bold, contributes towards a shared victory crafted from the intricate mosaic of efforts. Evening settles over the encampment as brilliant streaks paint the sky, and you find yourself wrapped in contemplation around a flickering flame. The stories of countless women interweave with your own threads bound together in a tapestry brightly colored with resilience, framed by shadows, then cast in brilliance by every flame-kindled recollection. As sleep cradles you under its gentle arm, your dreams flow with tales of bravery unsung and battles fought on multiple fronts, echoes of stories that percolate beneath life's visceral surface, portraying a world untouched and yet profoundly sculpted by enduring grace. With the stars as witness, tomorrow returns once more with its blend of challenges and promises, your appreciation for the multifaceted lives entwining themselves alongside your own deepened further by tonight's revelations. And so the cycle continues, an intricate dance across centuries, where every story unspoken becomes a cherished trace within the eternally unfolding tale of human experience. The sun rises with a gentle insistence, casting a soft glow over the camp that signals another day on the endless march through medieval landscapes. Today, your thoughts turn toward the threads of age and experience, recognizing the varied tapestry of lives gathered under the banner of mercenary service. Among the ranks, you're surrounded by a mosaic of faces reflecting the breadth of human experience, young men just coming into their own, brimming with untested courage, and the older, battle-hardened veterans whose eyes hold the wisdom of countless campaigns. Each member of this makeshift army bears their history as visibly as the scars that crisscross their skin, each one a testament to the battles they've endured and survived. A mainstream historical fact frames this diversity. Mercenary bands throughout history have comprised a wide range of ages, where veteran leadership often balanced the zeal and recklessness of youth. Such diversity was not only common, but essential to the survival and success of mercenary companies. In this environment, age is a tutor. The wisdom of experience tempers youthful enthusiasm, while the vigor of youth rekindles the weary spirit of seasoned veterans. You witness firsthand the dynamic synergy that emerges when older soldiers share their hard-earned lessons with those who still carry the eagerness of untested mettle. Among them, the veterans stand out as the repositories of tactical wisdom, their tales of past glories weaving into the fabric of the camp's communal consciousness, a treasure trove of insights gathered from years navigating both battlefield and council tent. Their knowledge is not only a resource but a comforting presence, a reminder that survival hinges as much on cunning as on courage. Yet, even the youngest among you contributes to this complex weave, their open-hearted expectations and dreams, untarnished by the weight of history, lend an energy that invigorates and inspires, softly reminding everyone of the purpose and hope that first brought them to this life. A quirky or fringe tidbit offers insight into this dynamic. Some mercenary companies were known for rituals that celebrated milestones within their ranks, such as the first battle or completion of their inaugural campaign rites of passage that honored growth and reinforced bonds. Historians still debate whether age and experience provided a strategic advantage, or if the impetuousness of youth was an equally valuable asset in battle. The answer perhaps lies somewhere between these perspectives, an amalgamation of raw talent and learned acuity, a deep pool of potential honed within the fires of conflict. As evening approaches, conversations flow like gentle streams, carrying the wisdom of the older and the dreams of the younger. Around the campfires you listen as stories unfold, tales from battles fought long ago blending seamlessly into aspirations for future endeavors. The stories passed from elder to novice create a continuum that stretches beyond this encampment, forging an unbroken thread of shared knowledge reaching back through time, while also edging forward into unknown tomorrow. These narratives don't just teach tactics, they throb with lessons of human resilience and purpose, anchoring hearts amidst the chaos of war. In the learned wisdom of the veterans, you find guidance that tempers ambition while nourishing the will to endure. With the vibrant enthusiasm of youth, you see futures unencumbered by the shadows of past failure, each looking to the horizon with eyes unclouded by doubt. As the day tips into dusk, the camp is enveloped by the cool embrace of night. Against a backdrop of stars, the silhouettes of your comrades, both young and old, seem fuller, more complex, and yet comfortingly familiar, hinting at shared destinies and unified purpose. In this moment, age becomes less a divisive number and more a shared narrative. Dreams come softly tonight, a blend of seasoned memories and youthful imaginings, propelling your thoughts along a path, brightened by a shared lamp of endurance, the cycle of age and experience providing guidance in an ever-unfolding journey. As you close your eyes, sleep drapes a gentle cloak over your thoughts, while hopes and reminiscences knit deftly into restful dreams. Beneath tomorrow's dawn, this tapestry of souls woven from diverse ages and experience shall rise once more, ready to forge tomorrow's triumphs from today's lessons. As the early morning light filters through the encampment, its golden hues casting a warm glow over the landscape, you find yourself contemplating the legacy of infamous mercenary leaders-commanders whose names echo through history, synonymous with both tactical brilliance and notoriety. These figures, larger than life, have mastered the dark art of mercenary warfare, and their stories linger in whispered tales shared around campfires. The world of mercenaries is as much shaped by these charismatic and often ruthless leaders as it is by the rank and file. Their reputations serve as both guiding lights and cautionary tales, crafting narratives that intrigue and inspire those who march beneath their banners. Whether feared tyrants or laudable tacticians, these leaders hold sway over the direction of battles and the fates of those who follow them. A mainstream historical fact highlights the influence of such figuresmen like John Hawkwood, the English mercenary captain who rose to prominence in Italy during the 14th century, commanding the White Company with a mixture of daring tactics and shrewd diplomacy. His legacy is a testament to the indelible mark that a single individual can leave on the annals of mercenary history. Under such leaders, you find yourself part of a finely tuned machine, a living being composed of synchronized ranks and gallant charges, each move calculated for maximum impact. Yet, the reputation of the leader casts a long shadow, influencing how others see you, shaping alliances and enmities born from their past deeds and future ambitions. To follow such renowned leaders is to engage in a dance with destiny, where strategy and reputation create pathways of both opportunity and peril. You learn to recognize the subtle nuances in their command, discerning when ambition overrides caution, gauging when boldness might stray into rashness. Conversations among your comrades often circle back to these mercenary captains, their legacies coloring the perceptions and expectations of those in their service. Arguments flare over their tactics, debates fueled by both admiration and envy. Their successes become legends, enshrined in ballads sung across taverns and courts. Yet their notoriety carries with it a heavier load, the awareness that a leader's downfall could scatter their followers like leaves in the wind. Loyalty is tested by actions and decisions that ripple far beyond the battlefield, their reverberations lingering long after the dust has settled upon bloody ground. A quirky or fringe tidbit offers an intriguing glimpse into this world. Some mercenary captains carried sigils or personal emblems, intricate tokens that became symbols of their prowess and authority, used to convey commands or secure allegiances without uttering a word. Such symbols became talismans for both fear and respect, signs of fortune in the crucible of warfare. Historians still debate the lasting impact of these mercenary leaders. On the broader stage, were they architects of evolving warfare, or mere opportunists capitalizing on turbulent times? Whatever the conclusion, their names endure, ingrained within the shared consciousness of those who follow in their path. As you gather around the evening fires, the flickering light casts shadows that dance in tandem with the stories shared. Tales of battles won against impossible odds, of clever ruses and daring escapes, knit their way through the collective memory, redefining possibility amidst the grim predictability of war. Dreams, when they arrive, are colored with the exploits of these legendary figures, their faces etched with both triumph and burden. Within the tapestry of night, you find assurance that leadership is as much about guiding as it is being guided, continuum where each step you take forms part of a larger journey. Tonight, as stars blanket the heavens, sleep comes with reflections of the intricate patterns woven by these mercenary captains, each line traced with both light and shadow, promise and peril. As you drift into slumber, the lessons imparted by their legacy illuminate a new path forward, charging tomorrow with a spirit of resolve rooted in history's tumultuous embrace. Your dreams carry echoes of their stories, interwoven with your own, crafting a narrative as enduring as time's unyielding march. And as dawn approaches once more, the legacy of those infamous leaders will rise with you, a reminder of the strength found in both unity and individuality, dual testament to the complexities of leadership and the inexhaustible well of the human spirit. Mist-shrouded fields, you have an undeniable sense that the winds of change are stirring, their whispers dancing through the camp like an unsettled spirit. The era of the medieval mercenary, with its iconic clashes and haunting tales of gallantry, is fading into the twilight of history, overtaken by the mechanized and regimented forces of a new age. This shift marks a sliver in time where your role in the theater of war undergoes dramatic transformation. The introduction of standing armies and advances in military technology signal the decline of the mercenarian end, slowly scripted with each innovation that renders your skill set less integral and your once valued autonomy less tenable. As nations move towards centralized power and permanence, the mercenary life loses its place in the evolving narrative of warfare. A mainstream historical fact illustrates this transformation. By the 16th century, innovations such as the pike and shot formations and the increasing use of gunpowder weaponry led to the dominance of national armies over hireling soldiers. These changes demanded a level of stability and long-term investment that the transitory nature of mercenary companies could not provide. You stand at this historical crossroads, feeling the ripple of shifting tides as the rigid structures of formalized armies cast long shadows over the dynamic ways of old. Yet, within this inevitability lies an opportunity to adapt or fade into obscurity, shaping your path around the challenges of a world in flux. To adapt means to confront these changes head-on, embracing new tactics and learning the intricate dance of evolving weapon systems. It means finding your place within the broader sweep of organizational hierarchies, where the familiar chaos of mercenary life gives way to the structured buzz of regimental discipline. Historians still argue whether this shift heralded an improvement in warfare's efficiency, or merely replaced one form of conflict with another, sanitized by bureaucracy. Was the decline of the mercenary a necessary evolution toward modernity, or did it erase a chapter of individuality and spontaneity from the annals of battle? The debate endures, a timeless reflection of progress pushing against tradition. Amidst this backdrop, you also witness the personal impact of this transition. Comrades who once roamed with you across fields of contest find new roles, or gently fade into memory, becoming farmers, tradesmen, or enigmatic travelers searching for solace in quieter paths. The tales of yesteryears, their exploits and hardships, become the oral history that stubbornly persists, passed down by those who remember a time when valor and reputation were the currency of the battlefield. In conversations around the camp, you hear the wistful tone of reflection, mingling with words of hope, each voice yearning for a sense of place in this evolving landscape. There's an almost wistful reverence for the days when a chosen few brought destiny to heel, their futures unfettered by rules or kings, free to drift with fortune's capricious whims. A quirky or fringe tidbit surfaces as tales of old mercenaries becoming instructors to young officers. Their unique knowledge, forged in the crucible of survival, rebuilt bridges as legends turned into manuals for maneuvering beyond swords and shields. Evenings at camp are filled with fireside reflections, where the flickering glow mirrors the weighty introspection in your own heart. You realize the profound truth. The decline of mercenaries marks not an end, but a metamorphosis and unceasing turn on the wheel of war, each cycle refining and redefining the nature of conflict. As twilight deepens, your mind eases into rest a carpet of stars, connecting past legacies to unplumbed futures. Dreams coalesce, crafting paths through memories of the mercenary life, securing each moment amid the pages of history. There is a poignancy to this night, weighed with the knowledge that change, though inexorable, heralds new beginnings. When the dawn breaks once more, you rise with it, ready to face the vast, open plain marking tomorrow. Emboldened by lessons learned from years intertwined with battles and brothers alike, you stand at this threshold, knowing that while the role of the mercenary may evolve, the essence of courage and resilience remains unyielded, a legacy to guide all who come after into whatever wars the future may unfurl. As the dawn creeps tentatively over the dawn of a new day sweeps gently over the camp, casting a soft light on the transformed landscape where the era of the medieval mercenary begins to transition into history. As you navigate this threshold, you can't help but reflect on the legacy of a life forged in steel and tempered by the relentless challenge of ever-shifting allegiances. This final journey carries with it echoes not only of battle, but of camaraderie, strategy, and the vivid tapestry woven by those who came before you. The world around you is quieter now, the promise of future conflicts echoing distantly as you stand in the peaceful embrace of present reflection. The air is vibrant with potential, the whispers of past glory melding seamlessly with the quiet strength of time's enduring march. Within this serenity, a sense of gratitude unfurls within your heart, stretching like a tapestry, being gently pulled across the warp of a life well lived. A mainstream historical fact speaks poignantly to this legacy. While the mercenary may fade, the impact of their contributions to the evolution of warfare remains indelible. From the tactical lessons they imparted to their role in shaping the destiny of nations, the stories once lived by shades of mercenaries now meld into the foundation upon which modern forces continue to build. As you walk the camp's quiet paths, once alive with vigor and urgency, you allow yourself the luxury of observing the little things: a bird's song, the gentle rustle of leaves, the laughter of those whose stories continue like a river winding through the ages. You find solace in nature's enduring presence, a comforting reminder that change, when viewed from a distance, is as much a part of life's rhythm as the seasons that restitch the land's hues. Historians still debate the full impact of mercenaries on the fabric of society. Were they architects of change caught between the folds of chaos and order, or simply opportunists navigating the turbulent currents of conflict? The discussion threads through scholarly corridors with no simple resolution, leaving the task of interpretation to those who seek to chart the echoes of lives that, despite their impermanence, left traces that continue to inspire. In the evening glow that wraps subtly around the camp, you gather with others like you, drawn by shared history and the bonds forged in battle's forge. Stories and laughter drift across the evening air, joyous notes inscribed within the moon's quiet embrace here, poignant reminder of life's transient beauty. You speak of tales both large and small, the scope of memory embracing both triumph and sorrow. As your breath deepens with approaching sleep, your thoughts transform into gratitude, imprinting the countless unexpected gifts born of this undulating life. The past unrolls like a scroll in the cinema of dreams, echoing with your own footsteps across this tumultuous tapestry of time and space. Within this sacred quietude, you find surcease from the ceaseless march, a tangible peace distilled from the infinity of moments lived fully. The last embers of the fire thread upwards, tracing the lines drawn by fate, guiding your weary soul toward a final, comforting embrace. The night blankets you now, gently ushering in the profound silence within which dreams take wing. Rest comes easily, born on the knowledge that though the mercenary in history may be a moment fast fading, the spirit nurtured by the years carries forward the spark of resilience, timeless in its capacity to illuminate the path of all who wander with courage and resolve. As your eyes close one final time beneath the night's shimmering promise, The universe breathes its benediction, cradling you in a whispered legation, eternal symphony sung through history's grand chorus, anchored deep within the resilient echo of the human spirit. Sleep well, for your story will resonate across ages, its luminous dream ripple through the countless dawns of tomorrow. Sweet dreams,